In 2025, the United States, led by President Donald Trump, unleashed a wave of tariffs not just on rivals, but on its closest allies. A sweeping 15% tariff hit exports from the European Union, Japan, and South Korea, nations once considered pillars of the American alliance. These allies were forbidden from retaliating, creating a one-sided punitive arrangement. Trump's message: the old rules were gone. By July, he threatened any country aligning with BRICS with an extra 10% tariff and demanded new, lopsided trade deals from Japan, South Korea, and China, backed by threats of 25% tariffs. The administration rolled out sector-specific tariffs: 50% on kitchen cabinets, 30% on upholstered furniture, 25% on heavy-duty trucks, and a staggering 100% on foreign-made movies and pharmaceuticals. The only escape build factories in the US or sign deals on Washington's terms. Trump claimed this would revive American manufacturing jobs, but the policy ignored the realities of a globalized economy. Allies were treated as economic territories to be controlled, not partners. The result: deep resentment and distrust among America's closest friends. The high-stakes gamble risked unraveling the very international order the US had built. The world watched as America's alliances began to fracture. The Trump administration's pressure campaign went beyond tariffs, forcing allies into humiliating investment deals. Japan was compelled to invest $550 billion in the US by 2029, with Washington controlling the funds and keeping 90% of the returns. Outrage erupted in Japan, protests filled the streets, and Prime Minister Ishiba resigned under public pressure. South Korea faced similar demands: $350 billion in investments, nearly wiping out its foreign reserves. Tensions exploded after US authorities detained hundreds of Korean workers at Hyundai and LG factories, and blocked visas for skilled staff. Anti-American sentiment soared in both countries. By September, Tokyo and Seoul signaled they couldn't meet the demands, warning of existential risks to their economies. Instead of compliance, the US strategy fueled resentment and a desperate search for alternatives. The foundation of America's alliance system in Asia was cracking. The US, once a trusted partner, was now seen as an economic bully. The backlash was swift and the damage profound. The world's alliances were shifting under the weight of American coercion. Cornered by US pressure, Japan began to consider the unthinkable, turning to new partners. The forced investment deal and punishing tariffs left Japan with few options. Quietly, Japanese leaders explored closer ties with the BRICS bloc. Once viewed with suspicion, the threat from the US now outweighed concerns about China's influence. Trump's July threats coincided with a major BRICS summit, where the bloc condemned US actions and offered diplomatic support. Suddenly, Japan and South Korea weren't isolated; they had potential allies in their struggle. By autumn, Japanese diplomats were in deeper talks with BRICS members, and business leaders sought new markets within the bloc. This was a cautious, reluctant pivot, not an abandonment of the US alliance, but a clear hedge. The American strategy had backfired, pushing a loyal ally toward its rivals. The world's third-largest economy was signaling it would not accept decline without a fight. The US had forced Japan to look elsewhere for security and prosperity. The global balance was shifting. The consequences would be felt for years to come. What is BRICS? Once dismissed as a loose group of emerging economies, it's now a formidable force. The original five, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have expanded to include Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE, forming BRICS Plus. With partner countries like Nigeria and Vietnam, BRICS Plus now represents 56% of the world's population and 44% of global GDP. The bloc's core principle: a multipolar world, free from US dominance and coercion. Recent summits have even seen India and China set aside rivalries, united by external pressure. For countries alienated by US policy, BRICS offers a diplomatic forum and an alternative economic ecosystem. For Japan and South Korea, joining BRICS is a profound shift, but one made necessary by American actions. BRICS is no longer just a talking shop. It's a central player in a new global order. The world's power centers are multiplying. BRICS' most ambitious goal is to challenge the dominance of the US dollar. The bloc is accelerating de-dollarization, trading in national currencies, not dollars. Russia sells oil to India for rupees. China trades with Brazil in yuan and real. China's CIPS payment system bypasses the US-controlled SWIFT network, building a parallel financial infrastructure. Trump's threats to punish countries leaving the dollar only fuel the movement. BRICS nations are selling off US debt, signaling distrust in the American-led order. Russia proposes a new multi-currency system backed by commodities like gold. While a full BRICS currency is distant, the steps taken are already reshaping global finance. The dollar's supremacy is no longer guaranteed. A new financial world is emerging, one where US leverage is fading. The global trade war's real victims are ordinary people. In the US, tariffs on timber and other goods drive up home prices and threaten construction jobs. Farmers suffer as China boycotts US beef and soybeans, while Brazil and Australia fill the gap. The promised manufacturing boom is replaced by farm bankruptcies and economic anxiety. In Japan, factory output and retail sales slump as consumers brace for uncertainty. Germany's factories announce layoffs, unable to compete with new US tariffs. Pharmaceutical giants and furniture exporters scramble to adapt, but small businesses and workers are left behind. Across the US, Japan, and Europe, the pain is widespread. The trade war is raising prices, destroying jobs, and sowing fear across continents. The cost of economic conflict is borne by millions. The fallout is global, and the scars are deep. The events of 2025 have reshaped global trade and alliances. Trump's tariffs fractured old partnerships and fueled the rise of BRICS as a credible alternative. Treating allies as adversaries proved a historic miscalculation. Japan's pivot toward BRICS is a symbol of the new multipolar world. As the US government shut down in October, the world moved on, signing new deals, building a parallel financial system. America's internal dysfunction contrasted sharply with the momentum of BRICS and its partners. The US-led global order is fragmenting, replaced by competing blocs and rival currencies. This new era brings both instability and the promise of a more balanced world. The tariffs meant to make America great again may be remembered as the moment the world began to move on. The future of global power is up for grabs,